Hi guys, today I'll be sharing the secret to making moi like butter, the one that melts in your mouth. That's the kind of moi recipe I'm sharing today. Here is a glance of the beautiful ingredients we're going to be using. Just look at how colorful they are, and note that for some of them you can interchange them. Now let's talk about our beans. This is our sweet beans. We call it honey beans. We call it olonyi. So let me know what you call it, where you're from. This is what we call beans, sweet beans, right? I'm using the brown beans for this recipe. Some people use white beans for moi. The thing about white beans is that it can get really fluffy, but it's not as sweet as your brown beans. Next is our pepper mix. I love to use green peppers in my moi, guys. And I'm going to be adding some ginger and of course your scotch bonnet for heat. Now for ginger, make sure you peel off that skin and cut it into smaller cubes, which you'll see me do later. And next I'm going to be adding some corned beef. You can decide to put in fish, guys. If you're not a fan of corned beef, that's totally fine. And here is some raw eggs, guys. I'm going to be adding raw eggs into this, and of course there's the boiled eggs, which is traditional to the normal recipe, you know. And here is some red bell peppers known as tatache, and you have your palm oil, and you have your groundnut oil or vegetable oil, and then last but not the least you have your onions. I love white onions in moi. It is just so good. Now for those of us who are not living in Nigeria, who are going to be using ramekins, this is what I have that is an alternative that you can also use. They are called ramekins, are so cute. They can go into your oven, they can go into your boiling pot of water. It's so handy. And if you're in Nigeria and you have access to moi leaves, this is what they look like. This is what they come like. Now what I showed you was the front of the moi leaf, and here is the back, right? This shiny part should be outside, and this part here is where you put your leaves. Now here is the stem of that moi leaf. We do not waste any parts of this leaf. Cut that part up. Once it looks like this, you're going to also be using that in cooking your moi. It just gives you that traditional aroma you get when you make your moi with leaves. Now here is this part that we always get out whenever you're making your moi with leaves. The reason we do that is it helps you to fold that leaf so easily. So you can see the way my hand is placed. I'm just going to press that in, and then you're going to break that out. This is going to help you to be able to fold your moi so easily without it breaking, right? Now let's start. Put that 2 cups of beans into a bowl. I'm going to be adding some water. I know for a lot of us, you want to just get this done with, over and done with so quickly, but don't be too quick, right? Don't be too fast. Put that into water and allow it to soak for a while. When I say a while, we're talking about between 15 to 20 minutes. Yes, I know that some of us no longer use our hands to wash beans, but guys, even if you're going to use a food processor, you need that beans to soak some water and become really soft. The difference is clear when your beans is soft and when it isn't. Look at how the skin just comes right off so easily. Now I'm going to be using my food processor, but if you don't have one, you can just use your hand to just get out all the skin. Notice with the food processor, I'm using the pulse function because you do not want to totally blend it, right? So with the pulse function, I'm going to do that about 4 to 5 times and we are good. The beans is peeled. That's why the food processor is just a handy gadget, right? Once I'm done with this, I'm going to be taking that out. Let's take out the cover to see what it looks like. I want to show you what it looks like before we begin to wash off the skin. Now here is what it looks like, guys. Can you see? It's almost like the skin has just been taken off magically, right? Now let's pour that into our bowl and see what that looks like, guys. Add some water. I had to rinse that cup and then added some water. Get out your sieve and just begin to scoop all of that skin out. Exactly, guys. That's how you're going to do it, and keep changing that water so you can keep getting all of that skin out, and that's how it's done. So quick and so easy. You've just done the hardest part of making moi like a boss in just a few minutes. Now this is what we have, and next I'm going to again allow that soak for like 5 minutes before I start to blend. Just look at how clean that is. Would you believe that there was once a time growing up that we used to use our hand to peel the skin? Guys, that time is gone. Now put in your green bell peppers and onions. You can see the quantity of onions I'm using for this moi. Put in your red bell peppers and put in some ginger. I've already peeled out the skin, and here is everything going in. Let's talk about a key part in making moi. You want to make sure that the water to the beans ratio is not too much. Now you're going to notice that for this particular recipe, when I was doing this, you can see the water is above the beans level, and that's because I still have some left, and the other that is left, I'm going to blend it with little or no water because you do not want your moi moi to be really watery. Now here is the right proportion that you should use for your moi moi. The water should just be half of your beans proportion in your blender cup. It should not be as much as the beans or over the beans. Otherwise, what you're going to get is really watery moi moi, right? Now this is the consistency you're looking for. It shouldn't be too thick because that means you're making the other one, which is known as akara. This should be exactly like this. I added my eggs, I added my oil. I'm going to be adding a mix of both groundnut oil and your palm oil. Please note that you can use only groundnut oil or only palm oil, whatever you're familiar with. Put in some seasoning and some salt, and then you're going to stir that together, guys. Stir it well, and then you're going to make sure all the ingredients go round. So guys, please take note of the water content. Is the most important part of making moi moi. That's the part that makes or mars your moi moi. You do not want it to be too watery. Again, look at this consistency. Please guys, don't let your moi moi batter be too watery. Let the water content be half of the quantity of your beans. That's the whole point of soaking it. Next, I'm going to be putting some corned beef and some boiled eggs like I showed you earlier. I'll be cutting mine into two depending on however you want it. And here I'm using my big iron pot for this particular recipe. Add some water into it, put in some salt. The reason why I put salt is growing up, my mom told me that the salt helps to infuse flavor into that moi moi because you get some of that water entering into the moi moi leaves, right? Put in the stalks that I showed you earlier in this video, and as a base you're going to put in some leaves just to serve as a base. Now let's get back to how to use your moi moi leaf and how to wrap your moi moi leaf. Now here's what we have. This part that I show you here is known as the inside of the moi moi, and then the other shiny part is what should be outside. Now like I showed you earlier on in this video, you're going to break off this part of the moi moi leaf because you want to get this thing out. Otherwise it's going to make it really hard for you to wrap your moi moi leaf, and you even tear the leaves because it can get really sharp. So just get this part out by pressing it from the back. I'm going to show you once again how I do that here. Press the back and then just get this out, and that part becomes really soft. Then you know you've done it right. Next, I'm going to be using 2 leaves to wrap one moi moi. If you have moi moi leaf that is really big and large, you can use just one, but here I'm going to be using 2, and here is how to fold your moi moi. The first one comes like this. You bend that in, and then it crosses over to make a cone. The lower part should be thinner, and then there should be space for the upper part. You just bend that like that, and that's how you do your moi moi. It is that easy. Go through that process again. Lower the speed of watching the video so that you can find that really easy to do. Now here is me scooping all of that. I'm using 2 scoops of my spoon into that moi moi leaf. I'll be adding my eggs. I'm going to be adding my corned beef. If you have your fish also goes in at this point. And then here is how to fold it. Use your index finger to press it in, and then you begin to fold, and that is it. Voila! That's how you get it. That's how you wrap your moi moi leaves. Now again, for those of our family members that are in diaspora, this is how you use your ramekins. You really do not need to use a moi moi leaf. We just like it because it gives us that original flavor, but this equally works. You don't have to say you want to make moi moi because you don't have moi moi leaves, right? Cover that up, and then you're good to go to put this in your oven or put this in a boiling pot of water, as you can see me do here. After a few minutes, I was done wrapping all of them, and here's what we have, right? You're going to use some moi moi leaves to cover it up so it can cook in its own steam. And here is my big pot that I'm not ashamed of. I use this pot for things like this, for my jollof rice, and also to make moi moi. Now, one of the tips to know that when your moi moi is ready, the leaves are going to change color from that bright green to this particular color, guys. But again, allow your moi moi to cook for at least 40 minutes. Make sure you check to see that the water hasn't evaporated, otherwise it's going to burn. Here is me taking out a part of it after about 35 minutes, and the leaves color had changed. I knew I was good to go. I'm placing that on my board, and I'm going to be opening it up to show you what it looks like. I can't wait. It already smells so divine. The aroma is so good. And guys, drum rolls anyone. This is what we have. This moi moi like butter. It's soft, it melts in your mouth, it's so yummy, it's so delicious. By the way, did you know you can use your native secret spice in Moimoi? So if you're a fan, please add it, it's so good. This method I learned growing up from my mom. When you touch your Moimoi and it doesn't stick to your fingers, you again know that it's fully cooked and it's ready. Now guys, just look at that. Now let's slice it off so you can see that everything is good, everything is fine. Moimoi is ready. Guys, I was salivating at this point. I hope you are too, because if you like Moimoi, you should already be thinking about how this is going to go in your mouth. And guys, that is it. Moimoi has been made. The best Moimoi has been made. That's it, guys. I want you to also try this out and let me know what you think. Let me know what your challenges are in making Moimoi, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.